All right. Got it started? All right, so this is a cow eye dissection. When you first get your eye, you're going to have to remove all this adipose tissue. You're going to also have to remove, you can see the rectus muscles here. Before you do so, start observing the external anatomy. This is actually the optic nerve. This little brown bundle of fibers here is the optic nerve. In the front, you can see the cornea, and then this darker color around that's actually the conjunctiva, which would lead to the eyelids. So I'm going to take these bigger scissors and cut all this fat and muscle away. Be sure not to cut yourself. That's the key. Really? I'm going to have to edit your blowing your nose out of the video. Okay, making sure my fingers are removed before the scissors close. I'm using the corner of the scissor right there, so that's the strongest part. And I'm just kind of going around it. Now see, I'm not done because there's a bunch here still to go, right? So I'm just taking that. You can see there's still muscle there. You don't have to remove everything, but as much as you possibly can. Don't be afraid to poke the eye. You're not going to cut it with these scissors. You're not going to make a hole unless you really are purposely trying to do so. So I'm just kind of going around. I'm going as fast because this is not my first eye dissection, but I want you to go slower so you don't get hurt. Take turns with your partner so your hands don't get tired. All right, so now what are we looking at? Taking the scissors away. We have a cleaned eye. I'm holding it by the optic nerve. You can, of course, see the cornea, as I mentioned. This is the sclera, the white tough part on the outside. I'm going to take my scalpel, and I'm going to cut maybe about a half a centimeter or centimeter down from the cornea. I'm not going to go all the way around. I'm just going to make an incision. You see a little stuff squirted out there, right? So you don't want to push down hard. I went very slow. Now I take my small scissors. These are a finer point, right? I stick those in that incision I made, and I cut all the way around their circumference. I be sure not to stab in the inside. I want to keep the scissors close to the edge as possible. Let me cut a little bit more here, and a little bit more there. Okay. So then you get two halves. So this is that vitreous humor I was telling you about. You can already see the brown retina kind of shaking around. It will detach pretty easily. I'll leave that there for a second. Let me talk about this end. You still have some vitreous humor. You can sort of scrape away right there. And then you have the lens. The lens is still attached, right? So you can just pop out the lens. It's not transparent anymore. The chemical kind of changes colors. And then you're working with the front half. And this, you can use a picture of in your lab manual to identify the parts. If I can pick this up. So you have the iris, which is where basically the lens was sitting in. There's a hole in the iris called a pupil. You can actually see the cornea through the pupil. On the outside of the iris, you have the ciliary body. So it's like maybe a couple millimeters drop down to get to the iris, but then you have the ciliary body all around the perimeter. And then the very edge of the ciliary body, you'll have that structure, the ora serrata I was telling you about. So move that to the side. I'm going to take as much as that vitreous humor out without disturbing the retina. Seems like that's going to be difficult to do, but you can see the brown retina there, right? Away the brown retina, move it to the side, and you can see where the retina is leaving the eye. That's the blind spot. So that's the area where all the nerves are leaving, the ganglionic cell, the axons are leaving at this part. So that's where the light hits and you don't see it. Okay, but now you can see the very shiny tapetum lucidum I was telling you about, and that's the pigmented part of the choroid. So the black stuff is the choroid. You can see the outer sclera, which is the white part here, and then I just peeled away the retina. And that's basically the cow eye dissection. Good? Okay.